What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Wildcats and More podcast. I'm your host, Deshaun. I know it's been a long time since I recorded. It's been 6 months since I made a podcast, and I promise you that I am back for good this time. I know a lot has happened over the years. I started this podcast, I think, back in 2019, and I tried to record weekly. Then my wife, we had our first child. He's 15 months old now, and then we had another child who's about to be a month old. So yeah, having 2 kids makes it a little harder to record, but I promise you I'm back for good. When I first started this podcast, it was called the All Cats Everything and Then Some podcast. And then I shortened the name to Wildcats and Then Some, and now it's just Wildcats and More. Regardless of whatever the name is, this is your number one source for all things Kentucky Wildcats. If you want rational, non-biased sports talk without the bullshit that you hear in ESPN, you're in the right place. But if you like that over-sensational bullshit, if you like listening to Shannon and Skip have shouting matches and overhype their guys that they support, you in the wrong place. But anyways, y'all, welcome back to the Wildcats and More podcast. Now, I gotta be honest with you, before I was a student at the University of Kentucky, I wasn't a Kentucky football fan. I just cared about Kentucky basketball. But once I started going to the school, I was just like, I go here, I'm a fan of the basketball team, so I might as well root for the football team too. And that's pretty much what I did. I started going to Kentucky in 2007. Now, that season was a special season nonetheless. Kentucky, I guess it wasn't special. We only won 8 games that year. But we beat Louisville, who's our biggest rival. We beat LSU, I think, in double overtime. LSU, I believe that was the number 1 team at the time that Kentucky beat them. And then Kentucky would go on to win the national championship. Well, sorry about that, y'all. I had to mute the TV. I had WWE Money in the Bank playing in the background. Yes, I am a wrestling fan. I don't watch it religiously like when I was a kid, but I'll touch on that later. But anyways, like I was saying, in 2007, Kentucky, first half of the season, Andre Woodson was a Heisman candidate. We beat Louisville. We upset LSU in, I think, double overtime. We pushed Florida to the limit, but we lost. But the season ended. We ended the regular season 7-5. We made it to the Music City Bowl, and we beat Florida State. That's when I became a Kentucky football fan. Now, we went through some hard times while I was in school, Kentucky was okay at football. But then when I got out of school, we were terrible. Then we hired Mark Stoops, and everything changed for the better. In 2021, Kentucky won 10 games for the second time in 4 years. We beat Iowa in the Citrus Bowl. We also we beat Florida. It was overall a good season. We lost to Georgia. We lost some games we shouldn't have lost. I think we lost to Mississippi State and Tennessee. 2 games that we shouldn't. Those 2 I feel like we should have won. Georgia was just going to be too much for us, but there's no reason we should have lost to Mississippi State and Tennessee. But, I believe here in 2022, it'll be another 10-win season for Kentucky. Now, the main reason why I believe that is because of our quarterback, Will Levis. Now, Will is the best quarterback we've had since Andre Woodson. Me personally, I feel like Will Levis should be a Heisman candidate next year. Now, I'm not saying he should win it, but hey, that'd be nice. That's the only thing we don't have. We've never had a Heisman winner in our football history, and that's one thing that Louisville has on us. They've had a Heisman winner in Lamar Jackson, but if Will Levis can win Heisman next year, then Louisville won't have that bragging right over us anymore. But anyways, with or without it, I don't think it matters. I do believe that Kentucky will beat Louisville again next year. Not saying Louisville won't put up a fight, but I do think we'll win. And Will Levis, he killed Louisville last year. I think he scored 5 rushing touchdowns in that game, and we won, I think, 56-10. It was crazy. But yeah, Levis, he's a damn good quarterback. The best we've had since Andre Woodson. He's got a rocket arm. He's mobile. He's got pocket presence. He's a big quarterback too. Now there are some things he needs to work on, but I do believe that if Levis has another big year, he will be a first-round draft pick in the 2023 NFL Draft. He kind of reminds me of Josh Allen, the Bills quarterback, because they're both big, they both have rocket arms, and they're both mobile. I mean, they're hard to bring down because they're strong and they're deceptively athletic. But not just Will Levis. I mean, I think our defense is going to be good now. I don't think we'll have Little Vito for the season because he injured his knee, but we still have a pretty rock solid defense. I think we'll be fine next year on both sides of the ball. We did lose Wan'Dale Robinson, who had arguably the greatest season ever for a Kentucky receiver, but we do have a transfer in Tavion Robinson. I don't believe they're related, but Tavion was Virginia Tech's leading receiver last year. Now he comes to Kentucky. I feel like he will have a big season, and it'll be another good year for us. Hopefully, Kentucky will win 10 games and go 10-2 in the regular season. But I mean, as long as we get to a good bowl game again, and like the Citrus Bowl, hey, I ain't gonna complain. But yeah, hopefully one day Mark Stoops will be able to take Kentucky to that next level and get them into the college football playoffs. But I don't know. I mean, I'll be happy if we just win 10 games every year. But it's going to be a lot tougher in the future because Texas and Oklahoma are both joining the SEC, I believe, in 2024. I mean, it ain't going to be easy trying to beat Alabama and Georgia. Now you got to add Oklahoma and Texas to the mix, plus Florida. I mean, they've been a little up and down lately, but Florida's still a challenge. It's going to be hard in the future, but as long as Mark Stoops is our coach, I do believe that we will still be at least competitive. We can still win 9-10 games every year under Stoops, as long as everybody's healthy. Now, shifting gears to basketball. I got to eat crow. Now, when I was recording my podcast on a regular basis, I said anything short of the Final Four is a failure of a season. Because I really thought we had a team that could potentially go to the Final Four last year. We had an experienced point guard in Xavier Wheeler. We had an experienced big man in Oscar Tshiebwe, who won National Player of the Year, by the way. That man was a walking double-double. We had good guards, Ty Washington, Kellen Grady, Keon Brooks had his moments, Jacob Topping had his, Damian Collins. But yeah, when Ty Washington got hurt late in the season and was out for like a week, that really derailed our season because Ty wasn't the same player once he came back. Xavier, he got hurt towards the end of the season as well, and he wasn't the same player once he came back. And Kellen Grady somehow lost his shot. I mean, I guess the Monstars took his shooting ability because Kellen Grady couldn't hit the red side of a barn towards the end of the season. And we laid an egg against St. Peter's. Now, while I was watching that game, I'm thinking, okay, stop playing with them. Y'all going to break away, and this is going to be a blowout win in the second half. But nope. St. Peter's hung around, and then St. Peter's beat us in overtime. Now, we're not the first 2 seed to lose to a 15 seed, but it shouldn't have happened. I mean, there's no reason why we should have lost to St. Peter's. But looking back at it now, if we would have beat St. Peter's, we probably wouldn't have gone any further than the Sweet 16 because things just wasn't working out for us. Now, a lot of Kentucky fans have been on the Fire Calipari bandwagon. I mean, the whispers started turning into shouts. Now everybody's like, oh, we got to fire Calipari. Now, what do I think about it? I don't think we need to fire him. At least not yet. Yeah, there's no reason we should have lost to St. Peter's, but I don't think I don't think we should fire Calipari yet. I mean, I do believe he has one more championship run in him, at least one more, and it could be this year. But I'm not gonna make any guarantees because shit. I thought last year we would have been a Final Four team, but we lost in the first round of the tournament. Yeah, John Calipari has done a lot of good for Kentucky. We've won 20 plus games almost every year he's been our coach, and we was heading towards irrelevancy until we hired John Calipari, and now since he's been the coach, Kentucky's been relevant again. We've been to the Final Four multiple times. We won the championship. We was runner up against Connecticut in 2014, but yeah, we haven't been to the Final Four since 2015. I know, but let me ask y'all this: to everybody who's saying we should fire John Calipari, who do you want to who should replace him? Tell me, who are you going to replace him with? Because you can't just replace him with anybody. Kentucky is one of those coaching jobs that you gotta have the right person. You know what I'm saying? Because not everybody can handle the pressure that comes with coaching Kentucky. Kentucky, Duke, North Carolina, UCLA, Gonzaga, whenever Mark Few decides to retire, Kansas. Like, you can't just hire anybody to take that job. You got to have the right man. Now, I always said when Calipari does decide to retire, I would like to see Jay Wright replace John Calipari, Villanova's coach, two-time national champion winner. But Jay Wright's retired. Coach K's retired, which, I mean, he wouldn't have came to Kentucky anyway, but Jay Wright's retired, Coach K's retired, Roy Williams is retired. Yeah, so who would be a better coach than John Calipari? That's what I'd like to know. Because we can't, I mean, yeah, he's not going to coach forever, but it would be pointless to replace him with a guy who's in the same age group as him. So that would definitely rule out Tom Izzo. I mean, Tom Izzo might be older than John Calipari for all I know. Bill Self, he's in the same age bracket as John Calipari. Like, who would you replace him with? Seriously. I mean, me personally, I'm not saying Tom Izzo is a bad coach, but I mean, I hear a lot of UK fans say that Tom Izzo is a good coach, which he is. But could Tom Izzo come to Kentucky and replicate what John Calipari has done? I don't know. I mean, yeah, everybody says, oh, we haven't won a championship since 2012. Well, I mean, look at Tom Izzo. He hasn't won a championship since the year 2000. And Michigan has Michigan State has put plenty of guys in the NBA. But you don't hear Michigan State fans saying, oh, we need to fire Tom Izzo. Or maybe they are, but I just don't really pay attention to Michigan State fans. Really, I mean, yeah, Billy Donovan, I think he'd be a good coach to replace Calipari, but Billy Donovan is probably loving the NBA and probably has no plans on coming back to the collegiate ranks. Brad Stevens, I like him. I think he was a very good coach, but he's got a good thing going in Boston. I mean, he's not their coach anymore, but I think he's like their general manager or their president. So that's out of the question. Really, like, I don't know. I mean, I guess if John Calipari was to retire, if John Calipari woke up tomorrow and decided that he doesn't want to coach anymore, I guess Scott Drew would be the guy I want to replace him, because Scott Drew, he took a Baylor program that was an afterthought and made them relevant. I mean, they've won the Big 12 multiple times under his watch. Well, regular season, that is. I mean, they've won the Big 12 regular season title multiple times under his watch. He's put a few guys in the NBA. He won the national championship 2 years ago. He'd be a damn good coach. I mean, he knows how to recruit. He knows how to develop talent. But, I mean, Baylor is... How would I describe Baylor? Baylor, they're good, but they're not a blue blood. I mean, Baylor, yeah, I'm sure the fans... Well, now that they got a taste of a national championship, yeah, they're probably expecting it every year now. But Baylor fans will be all right if you don't win the championship or go to the Final Four every year. But Kentucky fans, you missed the Final Four one year and they calling for your head. And Calipari hasn't been to the Final Four since 2015, and yeah, the whispers have gotten louder and they want him fired. Really, who would you replace him with? Anybody. Any UK fans out there on YouTube, like, feel free to comment on who you think would be a good replacement for John Calipari. Now, let me just clarify some things. I mean, I'm not a Calipari stan. He's a good coach. Not saying he's the best, but he is good. I mean, does he have his flaws? Yes, but John Calipari is still one of the top 10 coaches in the game. Like, he knows how to coach. Is he the best coach? No. But he isn't. When people say he can't coach, that just makes me laugh, because Calipari has won over 700 games in his career. He's won, I think, 75% of his games in his career. You're not going to win that many games if you can't coach. And a lot of people say, oh, he just gets all the good talent, that's why he wins. But, I mean, he wasn't getting that much talent when he was at Memphis or UMass, and he still managed to win over 70% of his games there. So you can't say it was all on his players. Calipari is good, but he's not the best coach, but he's good. I mean, now that Coach K is retired, I'm not sure who the best coach in college basketball is. I would have said Jay Wright, but Jay Wright's retired too. Roy Williams is retired. Hell, I guess the best coach in college basketball now is Bill Self, even though Kansas be doing some shady shit. Now, I'm not saying Kentucky hasn't done anything shady, but I mean, we're not the program that's being investigated. Kansas is. But anyways, yeah, I guess Bill Self is the best coach in college basketball now. But anyways, I still think next year will be a good season for us. We don't have the best recruiting class, but we do got a couple of 5-star players coming in. Cason Wallace, who's a combo guard. He can score, he can shoot, he can defend. Chris Livington, an athletic swingman that can defend and score. We got Oscar coming back. We got Salvir back. We got Jacob Toppin back. Damian Collins is back. We did lose Keon Brooks to transfer. I believe he transferred to Washington. And then, we also lost Ty Washington and Shaden Sharp, which Ty got drafted by the Rock. No, excuse me. Ty was drafted by the Memphis Grizzlies, and then he was subsequently traded to the Houston Rockets. Shaden Sharp, I know a lot of Kentucky fans don't want to claim him because he never played a game for us, but he was there. He enrolled in the school. He enrolled at Kentucky. He practiced with the players, so technically he is a Kentucky Wildcat. You know, instead of hating on the kid, I mean, I hope Shaden Sharp does well in the NBA. He got drafted by the Portland Trailblazers, so I think he'll be fine. Portland has a star in Damian Lillard, so there's not going to be any pressure for Shaden Sharp to be great right away. Ty getting drafted by the Rockets, I mean, they was one of the worst teams in the league last year, but now that John Wall is no longer on the Rockets, Ty will probably be their starting point guard and put up some good numbers. I wish Kellen Grady would have got picked up by somebody. Jacob Toppin didn't get drafted. He put his name in the draft and came back. But like I was saying, I do think this year will be a good year for us. I'm not going to make any predictions because I've been wrong about my predictions the last couple of years. So I'm just going to say we'll have a good season. We'll win 20-plus games. We might win the SEC. I think we'll win the SEC regular season, but SEC tournament, I don't know. I guess we'll have to wait and see. But that's what I think will happen for us as far as basketball goes. Just sit back and relax, Big Blue Nation. It'll be a good season. Now, I will say this: let's say Kentucky gets a 2 seed again this year or a 3 seed. And we lose in the opening round of the tournament. Yeah, John Calipari's ass needs to be put on the hot seat. And we can't have another early round exit losing to a lower seed. If that happens again, then hell, I might start screaming John Excuse me. If that happens, I just might start screaming fire John Calipari, because losing to a lower seed in back-to-back years, that's unacceptable. So, Coach Cal, you better start winning again. You better get us to the Final Four at least, or your ass has got to go. Now, for anyone out there listening that isn't a Kentucky fan, I'm done with Kentucky. So you ain't got to listen to me talk about Mark Stoops or John Calipari no more. I'm moving on to the NBA. Now, shout out to the Golden State Warriors. As much as I despise the Warriors, I mean, they proved me wrong. I didn't think Golden State was going to win the NBA Finals. I mean, I'm not surprised. I just didn't think it was going to happen. I thought that Memphis was going to put them out, honestly, because Memphis put up a good fight against them, but Golden State persevered in the end. Golden State, they went through my Mavericks in 5 games, and then they beat the Celtics in 6. Now, yeah, anyone who's my friend on Facebook knows I hate Golden State, but it's only because I don't like Draymond Green. That's all. I'm not saying Draymond Green sucks. I'm not saying he's the worst player in the NBA, but I just can't stand that dude. He plays dirty, and he runs his mouth like he's the best player in the NBA. I mean, my personal opinion, he ain't even a top 30 player in the NBA, but he talks like he's one. He runs his mouth like he's one. I mean, I do think he'll be a good analyst one day because he's smart and he knows basketball to a T, but I'm just not a fan of him as a player. I mean, quite frankly, he's only good because he got Curry and all them other shooters around him. When Curry and Clay was injured 2 years ago, Draymond Green didn't do shit. Now I get it. I know he's a role player. I don't expect a role player to carry a team to the playoffs, but I mean, he acts like he's a superstar. He acts like he's the best player in the league. So yeah, all that you was running your mouth when things was good, but yeah, when y'all sucked, you were quiet. But anyways, yeah, shout out to Golden State. If they do make it back to the finals next year, hopefully they lose. But it is what it is. I mean, I gotta say, it's been a crazy offseason so far in the NBA. I mean, Kyrie Irving don't want to play in Brooklyn no more, nor does Kevin Durant. Yeah, where are they gonna be next year? I don't know. Now, from what I'm hearing, Kyrie Irving, the rumors are the Lakers is where he's going to go. But, yeah, in order for that to happen, yeah, they're going to have to trade Kyrie for Westbrook, and the Lakers are probably going to have to throw in a couple of draft picks, too. Now, that would be good for the Lakers if and only if Kyrie plays. Because, I mean, it seems like there's always something going on with him. He's injured. Excuse me. He gets injured. He can't play in a certain city because of the vaccine mandates or some other bullshit. Like, that's really the only thing that holds Kyrie Irving back. I mean, he's a hell of a talent. I mean, I'm not really a Kyrie fan, but he is a talent. He's a great player as far as individual talent goes, but he's not much of a leader. That's the biggest thing that holds him back. But, I mean, if Kyrie was to join LeBron and AD in LA might just be a championship contender. Because, I mean, yeah, the rest of their team is kind of iffy, but Kendrick Nunn should be healthy this year. They still have Horton Tucker, unless they trade him to get Kyrie or somebody else. They went out, they signed Lonnie Walker IV, which I think that was a good pickup for him. He's a good defender. He can score a little bit. It's not the best shooter, though, but the Lakers need young players because they was one of the oldest teams in the league last year. And Lonnie Walker IV is young. They brought in Troy Brown Jr., another young player. I mean, he can defend and shoot the three. They brought in somebody else. I can't remember who. But, yeah, the Lakers, who knows how they're going to be next year. Sorry about that, y'all. I had to attend to my son. He had woke up, so I had to feed him. But yeah, like I was saying, I'm not a fan of the Warriors. As long as Draymond Green is playing for the Warriors, I will root against them, no matter who they're playing. Now Curry, I ain't got no problem with Curry. I'm not a Stephen Curry fan, but he alright. I can tolerate him. Stephen Curry, him and LeBron, they're the only players in the NBA that have nothing left to prove. I mean, LeBron, say what you want about him, whether you can love him, hate him, whatever. LeBron and Curry are the only players left that have nothing to prove. Yeah, LeBron, you can say what you want about LeBron James, but he's great. I mean, nobody... Okay, what I'm trying to say is LeBron's a great player. I'm not saying he's the GOAT, but nobody tries to discredit players who aren't great. I mean, the fact that people always look for some kind of excuse to discredit LeBron just speaks to his greatness. Because hell, if LeBron was just some average Joe, yeah, nobody would be trying to discredit him. Now, me personally, I don't think LeBron is the GOAT, but it's not for stupid reasons. Like, a lot of people try to discredit LeBron for shit that ain't got nothing to do with basketball. Like, they'll say, LeBron's not the GOAT. He had to stay on. He couldn't stay on one team. That don't have nothing to do with basketball. That has nothing to do with greatness. Okay, so what? He didn't play for the same team his whole career. Boo hoo. So the fuck what? Cry me a river because he didn't spend his whole career playing in Cleveland. Like, who wants to play in Cleveland their whole career anyway? Come on. I mean, LeBron. Look, I mean, if I've heard a lot of narratives in sports, but the dumbest narrative I've ever heard is the loyalty narrative. Why should a player be loyal to a team when the team does not have to return that same favor? I mean, just ask DeMar DeRozan. He signed a contract extension to stay in Toronto, and how did they repay him? A year after he signed that extension, they traded him to San Antonio. Now, granted, that was a good business decision by the Raptors because they won the championship with Kawhi Leonard. But is that how you repay somebody for being loyal to your team? You trade him a year after he signed an extension? Man, fuck all that shit. A player does not have to be loyal to a team, whether y'all like it or not. This is their job. This is their livelihood. Besides, back in the day, players stayed only because they didn't have the power like they do now. They stayed because their teams took care of them. Like, if the players back in the day had the same amount of power as players today have, they wouldn't have stuck with the same teams their whole fucking career. Now, I'm not saying that Dominique Wilkins would have gone to the Bulls and played with Jordan. I'm not saying Michael Jordan would have left the Bulls and teamed with Larry Bird. But if they had that kind of power back in the day, they would have took advantage of it. And if you think otherwise, then you're lying. The only reason they didn't move around was because they didn't have the power to, or because their teams took care of them. Like, stop with this whole player loyalty bullshit. But anyways, like I was saying about LeBron, my personal opinion, Michael Jordan is the only player for sure who is greater than LeBron all time. And maybe Kobe Bryant. But that's it. I mean, LeBron, yeah, love him or hate him, like, everyone has their opinions set on LeBron. So he ain't got nothing else to prove. Even if he was to lead the Lakers to 3 consecutive championships and he wins 3 more Finals MVPs, it ain't gonna sway anyone's opinion one way or the other. The people who think LeBron is the GOAT, they're still gonna think he's the GOAT. The people who think he's overrated are still gonna think he's overrated. So LeBron really has nothing else to prove. Curry also has nothing else to prove. I mean, my personal opinion, yeah, now he's a 4-time champion now. He won his first Finals MVP. He's the greatest shooter of all time. But yeah, he really don't have nothing else to prove. I mean, even if he was to win another championship or 2, I don't think it would put Curry in the GOAT conversation. Like, my personal opinion, I just don't know how you can be the GOAT when you've never been the best player in the league. I mean, Jordan, when the Bulls were winning, he was the best player in the league. Kobe Bryant was the best player in the league. After him and Shaq split up, LeBron was the best player in the league for almost a decade. And now, currently, Giannis is the best player in the league, in my opinion. Now, I'm not saying Curry. Now, I wouldn't trip if somebody said Curry is the best player, but I think Giannis just has a better argument than Curry for being the best player in the game, because Giannis consistently impacts the game on both ends of the floor. I mean, Curry, he's not a bad defender, but he's not necessarily a two-way player. Now, I'm not saying you have to be a two-way player in order to be considered the best, but if I had to choose one player to build my franchise around right now, well, other than Luka, since he plays for my favorite team, I'd choose Giannis because of his ability to impact the game on both ends of the floor. Now, everybody else who's still playing, yeah, they still have shit to prove. Giannis, you got to prove that you can do it again. I mean, you winning that championship definitely puts you in good company, but now you got to prove that you can do it again. Kawhi Leonard, he still got stuff to prove. He needs to prove that he can win another one, prove that he isn't a diva who only plays when he wants to play. Jokic, Luka, Embiid, they got to prove that they're winners. But yeah, LeBron and Curry, they're really the only players that have nothing else to prove. Now, before I end the podcast, I'm going to get into my wrestling bag for a little bit. Like I said before, I'm a wrestling fan. I don't watch wrestling religiously like when I was a kid, but man, John Cena, he made his return Monday night. Now, I don't think he's returning for ring action. I think it was just a commemoration, a celebration of John Cena's career. Now, John Cena, I'm a fan of John Cena. He's not my favorite wrestler, but I am a John Cena fan. I was a big fan of him, even though a lot of people they said he sucked. They said he can't wrestle. They said he has 5 moves, whatever. John Cena, I mean, he's, like him or not, he's a legend. I just think it's crazy how everyone cheered for him when he came back. I mean, John Cena, y'all know the phrase, you'll miss him when he's gone. Well, that was definitely the case for John Cena. I mean, even though for years, grown men screamed, Cena sucks, you can't wrestle. But yet, when he came back, those same grown men were cheering for him. Now, I don't know if it's because they just tired of Roman Reigns or they just tired of Brock Lesnar. I don't know what it is, but John Cena got plenty of love when he came back, and I was happy to see it, me being a Cena fan. I mean, because in the back of my head, I'm thinking, oh, now y'all like John Cena, huh? I guess y'all really did like him. But yeah, John Cena, I mean, I don't think he's the GOAT of wrestling, but I do think he's top 10, maybe even top 5. I mean, he's a mega star on the same level of guys like Stone Cold, Hulk Hogan, Ric Flair, The Rock. He's on that level. I mean, John Cena, you could definitely put him in the GOAT conversation. I mean, he's the whole package. He can work the mic pretty well. He's a good in-ring performer. His merchandise is top selling. Like, he's a GOAT. Now, me personally, I think Shawn Michaels is the GOAT of wrestling, but I mean, we can argue about that later. But yeah, John Cena, I mean, I was happy to see him again. I gotta say, subscribing to Peacock is what got me back into wrestling, because yeah, I originally subscribed to Peacock just so I could watch Halloween Kills. But when I saw that they had a section dedicated to WWE, I was like, it intrigued my interest. And on Peacock, if you're not subscribed to Peacock and you're a wrestling fan, you're missing out. They've got every WrestleMania to date. They've got every pay-per-view to date. Like, if you want to watch old WCW, you can watch that too. If you want to watch ECW, you can watch that. I mean, plus, I mean, it's only $5 a month. So every time there's a pay-per-view, you ain't got to pay for it because you're already subscribed to Peacock. I plan on watching Money in the Bank later on tonight, and hopefully my girl Liv Morgan wins the Money in the Bank. Hopefully my girl Bianca Belair retains the title. Hopefully we get to see Finn Balor. I mean, I haven't looked at the card yet, but I'll be disappointed if Finn is not out there, because Finn, he's my current favorite wrestler. and he deserves better. He was the first Universal Champion, yet Vince McMahon never gave him another chance to be the champion. It's fucked up. Now, my favorite wrestler of all time, if you're curious, is Sting. I love Sting. He was, when I first started watching wrestling, Sting was one of the guys that I was just instantly drawn to. I mean, I liked everything about Sting. His appearance, like the way he wrestled, like he was just, his charisma. Like, Sting is everything you want in a wrestler. That's why he's my personal favorite all time. But anyways, y'all, I hope y'all enjoyed the podcast. I promise y'all I'm back for good this time. I'm Deshaun, and I'm out.